All right, the Ahmed Kathrada and Nelson Mandela Foundation, together with 60 civil society organizations from across the country, will launch the Anti-Racism Network South Africa. This is happening tomorrow. The launch follows a series of workshops and conferences this past year. And joining us in studio this morning is Sean Moodley from the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation, who is spearheading the network. Sean, good to have you on the program. Welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you, Leanne.
So, talk to me about the reason for this network. Why develop it?
The Ahmed Kathrada Foundation and the Nelson Mandela Foundation have been involved with anti-racism work over the past years. The key objectives of both organizations is to build our country. The motto or the vision for the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation is to deal with non-racialism and how do we deepen non-racism in our country. But we've come to the realization as both foundations that no single organization or individual can tackle racism in this country.
Yeah.
The problem is huge. We understand that. We see that daily in the media. And we looked at what was the strengths in bringing down apartheid. And if you look towards the end of apartheid, one of the huge strengths was a collective approach, like an organization called the United Democratic Front, the Mass Democratic Movement. And we said, if we can look at the collective approach, and what does that mean? And for us, we're saying that a network is needed, where organizations from around the country could be part of a network, a broader network that will be able to help in combating racism. All
right, so I would imagine that's the whole aim of this network, is to get to the bottom and eradicate racism in the country. Is it possible? Do you really believe that that's something that could actually work and we could see an end of racism of all kinds in South Africa?
Yeah, I think it's possible. I think the question during the dark days of apartheid was the same question: would it be possible to have a free South Africa? Some people believed it, others didn't, and those that believed it made it happen. Those that believed it went to jail, those that believed it fought. So I think it is possible. I think what the challenge is that as a country, we're grateful that we've had a wonderful transition into a democracy. There were coined phrases like the miracle of a nation. Our own Archbishop Desmond Tutu coined the phrase the Rainbow Nation. But the challenge was that there were huge issues like housing. It was the whole thing of the RTP, the Reconstruction and Development Program, to deal with the effects of racism. But as a country outside of government, we have not looked at the reconstruction and development of attitudes within our country.
Yeah.
So I think it is possible if we put our focus on that, if we believe apartheid was wrong, and we fight it, and if we start believing that racism is wrong, and understand that it is wrong, and if we really believe it as South Africans that it's wrong, I think there are huge possibilities of eradicating it.
I mean, I completely agree with you, but you do find that within some South Africans there is still a deep-rooted hatred. And you find that when people are given the platform to talk, you find that, you know, when there are spaces that they can talk in, whether it be anonymously on a Twitter account or, you know, on a radio station or writing into us, you still see so much anger within South Africans. And of course this leads to racism of all forms and all kinds. I mean, how do we rid ourselves of this anger that is within South Africans, which sees very violent crimes, we see jobs not being given to people. So there are almost like different kinds of racism happening, not necessarily just a black on white thing these days.
Good. I think what's important is that we need to understand where we come from. And I think that's important. We need to understand, as much as we're trying to deal with the how, we need to understand why. And so we come out of a country. I as an Indian South African, grew up in Indonesia. I've been to an Indian school. The people that taught me were Indian. the person I sat next to was an Indian. I fell in love with an Indian. I went to an Indian church. When I was sick, I had to go to an Indian doctor. And so my whole life was around being Indian. And so and then you have a new South Africa. You have a right now to go to any school you want to. And so we just hope that this thing is going to change.
Yeah.
So there's no blueprint. Nobody prepared us for a new South Africa. And so we need to understand that we're still not prepared. There wasn't a focus to prepare us and prepare me. My family never prepared me for this new South Africa. And so as much what was happening in Lenasia, it was happening in Eldorado Park, the same thing was happening in Glen Vista. And so we grew up in boxes.
Yeah.
And now we've got to come out of our box, hoping that this miracle that we speak about is going to take us through.
Indeed.
Unless there is a conscious effort from civil society, from teachers, from schools, from government, from NGOs, from religious organizations to say that racism is wrong, and how do we together collectively address this issue. I think that's what we need to be dealing with. Because these things are going to come up all the time.
Yeah, it is. Listen, I think it's a fantastic initiative. It really does. So just close it up for us. Tell us. So we've got these, well, I said 60, but you're telling me they're more like 70, 75
yes.
civil societies coming together tomorrow. What will come of all of that? What are you hoping will happen very quickly?
It has taken us a year to form this. We've come up with the guiding principles, and that will be launched tomorrow. And so we will meet at Museum Africa in the city, Newtown. And the idea is to go through the guiding principles and adopt it. And out of that would come something beautiful, which we would, as a network, launch the National Anti-Racism Week next year.
Yeah.
That will lead up to Human Rights Day, and it's a week where South Africans will come together.
Fantastic.
And begin to understand that racism is wrong.
Yeah.
And to plan and strategize tomorrow, the year ahead of us.
Lovely. Good luck. I hope it goes exceptionally well. Perhaps you can come in and talk to us about some of the conclusions that are reached. Sean Moodley, Ahmed Kathrada Foundation, talking to us about this partnership between the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation and Nelson Mandela Foundation with 75 civil organizations to launch the Anti-Racism Network South Africa.